Hi, and welcome to the Monday Live. And well, here we go. I feel as if I'm still buzzing because I've just come back from Denham yesterday. So we're very much winding down, as it were. But my wife and family had a nice barbecue going when I got back, so that was nice. So yes, so what I've been doing in Denham, well, it's one of our usual bridge weekends. Had a nice party there, good fun, I have to say, and obviously some reasonable aircon and therefore not feeling the heat. But I think it's going to be pretty hot today, so me and Alfie are off to the swimming pool later, my brother's pool, so we'll look forward to that. What have we got today? We have defence is the theme of the website at the moment, partner of the leader. Later in the hand. So we saw partner of the leader analysing the lead last year in the same month. This time we are just taking it a bit further, which means you have to plan a little. And today we will focus on a little bit of ducking. And we've then also got our bidding quiz. We'll have the 5-level decision. And those kind of things, so the usual suspects. What's happening on the site, etc.? We've got a normal week this week. So I'm here Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Next week we have Monday again, and then we'll have our prize teams the week after, the day after that, Tuesday night of next week, as it were. And then we go on a small family holiday to Cornwall, where both of us are on holiday, and that is an unusual thing. So we will both be on holiday, as opposed to one or other. So that's in the future, as it were. We've got a good 10 days, etc., before that, and that should get us close to Alfie going back to school. Not quite. I think they have a few insets to start. In terms of bridge as a whole, well, I was talking about Denham. That's sort of a base that we have. I suppose it's what I would call a utilitarian hotel. Its bridge facilities, etc., are fantastic, which allows us to run bridge events very efficiently, I must say. So you can see there's a couple coming up there. There's Elaine and Richard. Richard was with me on this time, actually, and so I hope he got home safely. A great team we had as well, and I think I'm there in October as well, so there's plenty to choose from, so do look. And of course we go into next year as well. So what I'm going to do is show you this 5-level decision. So I have to go to Q+ here, just press a few buttons, and then let's see this. This is the one that we revisit. So it goes 3 spades from south. You're sitting in the east seat, vulnerable. Your partner overcalls 3 no trumps. And you're thinking, okay, that's interesting. However, north bids 4 spades. And that makes it a little bit more tricky for you, doesn't it? So you've got a decision to make. And I think that's, maybe a tricky one. I'm not quite sure what we do here. 3 spades, 3 no trumps, 4 spades. So I'm asking you to make your 5-level decision, as it were. You are vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. Vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. So you do have something to think about there. So let's come back to that, if that's okay. What we're going to do is have a quick mention of those lovely holidays. In fact, Richard Quote here, going off to Norway quite soon. And we've got 3 holidays at the end of this year. Now, Richard was with me at Denham as well, so we had 2 Richards. Yeah, and it was a great team. He was there with his wife Jess, which was good. And then we've got our Mallorca in October. Of course, we do that each year. So do have a look at that, or head off to the Canaries with Lynn, which is fun. That one's from Liverpool. And of course I'm doing one from Liverpool myself next year, which is interesting. Okay, so I've done the 5 levels. I've got to get my head around what's going on here. Let's go over here. So last week we talked about unblocking unblocking, which of course is really important, and we saw that subtle one where it's always quite tricky when when one of you's got 5 and one of you's got 4, and you sometimes overlook that and end up blocking the suit a little bit too subtly when the Queen and Jack fall and you realise your 10 and 9 are in the way. But that was blocking. So let's just sum up what we talked about. So I'm going to choose another hand from the big seminar this time and then add another hand in. So the key is beyond trick 1 as the partner of the leader. We've already analysed the lead. We've worked out what the lead is. We've decided why partner might have made that lead or why he hadn't made the obvious lead. Those were the kind of questions we were dealing with last year. So we're assuming, well, we're going to do the work on trick 1, but we're going to then plan beyond it. Planning as declarer is important. It's doable. Planning as a defender is really, really difficult because you've got to imagine lots of things. Clearly, as a declarer, you can see 2 hands, you can make a robust plan. You don't know where the opposition cards are, but you can guess where you want them to be and plan for when they're not there. As a defender, it is tricky. So we're hoping that the lead will have given us some information to help. So we've got a plan, we've got to think about switching, and we've got to think about entries. And again, we know how important that is for declarer. It is, of course, really, really important for defenders. Okay, so, but it's so much more difficult. I mean, as declarer, you can see, okay, I'm going to try and make that suit, so I need an entry. As defenders, quite often we only think about it at the end of the hand, I'm afraid. So we'll see if we can manage it here. So in no trumps, we're going to focus on no trumps, I think, here. We're going to be looking at unblocking, which we did last week, and ducking, which we're going to look at today. Okay, and of course in suit contracts you think about roughing, and interestingly with roughing you sometimes need the entries as well. So sometimes to get a rough you need to duck. But we're going to look at a ducking hand today, and the idea is, if you are hoping to make a long suit, you need an entry to that suit. It is so straightforward if you're declarer. You can see 3 small spades in one hand, 5 spades in the other, okay, to the ace. So what you do is you keep the ace back until the end, and then hopefully you win the ace and make your winning spades at the end. It's more difficult if you're defenders. Okay, but the key is if you have the master card but no outset. Now let's look at a simple hand. I think most of us should get that right. Now as declarer, that is straightforward, isn't it? Well, sorry, straightforward's the wrong word, but imagine you had no entries in the east hand, in the hand on the right. The only thing you had in that hand was ace king to 6 diamonds. Well, you know that if you play the ace king off and play a 3rd round, that 3rd round will lose to someone. There are 5 cards out there. They can't just disappear. So if you play the ace and king out, you'll lose the 3rd round. You will never get back to those diamonds. So your only chance is to duck. Okay, so you duck the 1st round, maybe win the next trick in the west hand, then play the ace and king, and you're hoping the other diamonds fall. So as declarer, that's easy to see. It is not so easy as defenders. Okay, so we're going to try and do that. We're going to try and predict when we might need to keep our high cards to make an extra trick. Here, of course, I mean, this is hugely valuable. You know, imagine you're defending 3 no trumps, your partner leads your suit, maybe you bid 2 diamonds, he leads the 9 of diamonds, you must duck that first one. Of course, it's different if you've got entries outside. If you've got the ace of clubs and the ace of hearts to go with that suit, it doesn't matter what you do. You play ace king, play another one, you're going to get the lead. But if you've made a weak 2 in diamonds or a weak jump overcall or preempt or whatever, the likelihood is that's all you've got in your hand. So you're going to need to keep communication with your partner. So this is one of the hands from the big seminar. So apologies if you've seen it already, and then we'll look at another one and we're going to just see how our thinking goes. Okay. So the auction is 2n3n, I'm imagining, because there's only 5 points in dummy. Now we're sitting on the east seat. Remember, we are partner of the leader. So any hand you see in this seminar, you will be the partner of the opening leader. Now your partner chooses the ace of diamonds lead here. And now you don't know what he's got, but I think he's going to be disappointed by what he sees in dummy. So of course this is one of the disadvantages of opening leading. It's so difficult. I would imagine West has got something like ace king jack or ace king 10, and he's thinking, I'm going to try the ace and C, and as soon as he's led the ace he's regretted it, but I think it's probably a reasonable lead. However, I imagine he is going to change tack, so we'll play a small one there, and let's see what partner changes to. Okay, he changes to the 7 of spades. Interesting. Okay, so in a way, funnily enough, we've got to analyse 2 leads. We've analysed the ace of diamonds, and I think if partner had ace king jack 10 of diamonds, he might have just carried on playing them. So that's one thing to say. Here, what is the 7 of spades? Well, you would suggest, I mean, it's unlikely he's led from 3 to an honour. I think he probably hasn't got an honour in the suit, so our ace is only going to make once. Okay, but what are you hoping for? What are you hoping for? And that's the key. Sue, that's a good question. Do you give attitude on lead? Here, I do. So I would do on partner's lead. To be honest, on the ace of diamonds lead, some expert players or more advanced players, if they see that dummy has already told partner what the attitude is, you might even give a suit preference signal on this particular one. So you might have played the 5 for the higher suit, because clearly once the ace of diamonds lead is led, it's almost definite that North, the holding in dummy, queen 9-4, and there was another one, don't forget, is enough to put de Clare off leading it. So you might actually decide that you could ask for the next lead, but we didn't do that. We were just saying partner, my diamonds are rubbish. Anyway, so what do you think partner has here? What do you think partner has? Well, I mean, he could have a doubleton, but I don't think it matters if he's got a doubleton. De Clare has got the solid spades, so you don't need to take the ace straight away. Why would you duck it? Well, I think the key here is, the key here is it's not unreasonable to hope the partner might have 3 spades. He might be leading mud, I don't know, 7, 8, 3, something like that. He's switching to a suit. He's switching to the major that he's leading through. He could have switched to hearts, but he chose spades because he's maybe hoping you've got king jack or you've got the queens surrounded. But I think the crucial thing here is that there is surely a possibility that partner has 3 spades. Now, if partner's got 3 spades, dummy's got 3 spades, you've got 4, that leaves South with 3. Now, is there the possibility that your partner gets the lead twice? Well, I think there is. He's going to win the king of diamonds, okay? But surely there's the chance that he's got 1 more ace, okay? They could easily have 25 points, okay? So 20 in the, let's say, the South Hand 5, 25, partner's shown ace king, that's 7, we've got an ace is 11, there's 4 points left. So partner could have the king of clubs or the ace of clubs or the king of hearts or the ace of hearts. He could easily get the lead twice. Now, why is that important? Well, if we win the ace of spades, lead of spade back, where are we going? Can you see? We're never going to get the lead again. So you're going to have to hope partner's got 4 spades. And that's a possibility, I suppose, but surely more likely he's just got 3 because he may well have led from his 4 spades, but he might have. But that's not a problem anyway. We can always win the next spade if we really felt that was necessary. But here, what I'm thinking is, if I duck the first spade, partner can get the lead. If I duck the second spade, partner can get the lead again and then lead the 3rd round. And on that 3rd round, that is when I want to play the ace, because if I'm lucky, I might have the 13th spade, the winning spade. So I'm going to hold on to what I think is a really important entry. Okay, so I will play the 9 here. I'm trying to help partner, because remember, what's so difficult in bridge is West won't actually know that he's made a brilliant switch, okay, or what we think is a good switch. Does that make sense? Because he's going to think, oh, partner hasn't put anything on that. So we're trying to help out by playing the 9, but it's never going to be easy for your partner to know. So declarer wins the 10 of spades, and no surprise he knocks out, because he knows by leading up to the north hand. It turns out, it looks like partner started with ace king 10 to 4 probably. So he knocks out partner's king of diamonds and has established, I think, 2 diamond tricks. He's likely to make both of those, I think, by dint of a finesse, but you'd feel he probably will make them. So not a great lead, however, partner's switch could be brilliant. So he led the 7 of spades on his second lead and then followed with the 8. I think he might just have 3 spades, but it doesn't matter if he's got 4 either, because your ace can win the 3rd round and then you can take the last winner. Notice your partner did not place 7 and then small, so we're not placing partner with a doubleton, and that's crucial. Has the plan changed? No. If you play the ace of spades now and lead another spade, you're just never going to get the lead again. Simple as that. Okay. I mean, you can be optimistic, but that would be really optimistic. Okay. So the plan hasn't changed, so we keep the same play. Okay. And it looks like we might be right. The jack, South has played 10, then jack. It's not a surprise if he's got the bear king now. And there you go. There's the hand. Okay, there's the full hand. As it happens, if partner had found a heart switch, it might have been easier for us, but that would have been throwing all his eggs in one basket, I would have thought. He tried to lead through dummy. Hopefully you can see now, we've made 2 tricks each. Declarer can take a diamond finesse here and make 6 more tricks, 4 clubs and 2 diamonds. But he has to, if he wants to make the contract, establish a heart trick. Does that make sense? He has to establish a heart trick. When partner wins the ace of hearts, when partner wins the ace of hearts, he can then lead his last spade. So for us to take the contract down, we either have to establish the spades or the hearts. It depends on which one partner chose to let lead on this occasion. But we needed the ace of spades as the entry. The only way that East can make any extra tricks beyond his ace of spades is by having the ace of spades in his hand when he has some winners. So on this particular hand, as I say, partner led the ace of diamonds. I think that's reasonable. Ace king 10 8 is quite a strong holding. So I think I'm obviously book wise you should have maybe ace king jack, but with ace king 10 8 you'd feel leading the 8's not going to work, is it? Because partner's going to place you possibly with no honor at all. So I've got sympathy with the ace of diamonds. It just doesn't feel good when he sees dummy. But a great switch. Now, as it happens, if he switches to the ace and another heart, that will work. But that could have been very, very risky if it turned out declarer had ace, sort of king queen to 4 hearts, something like that. King queen 8 to 4 or something like that. So instead, he led a spade, and it looks amazing, isn't it? There's 4 top tricks for the defense. Okay, but you have to make an extra one, and as long as West has that ace of spade intact, we can make the 13th spade, and that's what we did. So we took ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace king of diamonds, and the 13th spade. And if you get that right, well done you, because most of us won't, because the problem in defense is when partner leads a suit, you tend to put the ace up and think later, and that's what's so tricky here. Notice though that it was a switch. So, I mean, if it's the opening lead, you're thinking, oh good, partner's long, let's just get on with it. Whereas on a switch, when West chooses to switch here, clearly, it could easily be him trying to find our best suit. Does that make sense? So, but as I say, I think a lot of people will finish making 3 no trumps exactly, with the defense making just their 4 tricks there. Okay, if West had chosen the ace of hearts and another heart lead, declarer would probably settle for the 8 tricks as well. Okay, let's change. So whenever you've got 1 entry, look after it. It's the same as declarer. If dummy's got 1 entry, use it wisely. It's easier as declarer, I should say, as declarer, because you can see it, you can see what your plan might be. Okay, let's look at another one. North is the dealer here and opens 1 club. Do you fancy an overcall? I think it's reasonable. I mean, it's a reasonable suit. You've got 9 points and it's spades. Why not? So we bid a spade. South overcalls that with 1 no trump. Your partner passes, and I think with 19 points, North's just going to probably jump to 3 no trumps. There we go. Okay, so you're in 3 no trumps. It is your partner's lead, and your partner leads the 9 of spades. Okay, partner leads the 9 of spades. North covers with the 10, which is interesting. Okay. So the first question you've got to ask yourself, and I always bring in the classic little quote of assuming competent declarer play. So you're assuming declarer's competent. How do you think the spades are dividing here? Well, you don't know whether South has 4 spades or 3, although quite often if partner's just got a singleton spade, he may choose to lead something else. But I think the crucial thing here is that declarer has 2 tricks in spades. If declarer had ace-jack doubleton, declarer would have played small from dummy and would have had 2 spade tricks. As long as the ace kills the king or queen, he's got the jack and 10. Because partner's 9 of spades has denied the jack. So I think North is covering with the 10. So declarer's putting the 10 on to try and tempt East. So what do I mean by that? Well, that's what we've got to work out now. Okay. Declarer has the ace-jack of spades, so you have to lose 2 tricks. What is your ambition when you're defending and you know you have to knock 2 entries out? When you have to knock 2 high cards out, what is your ambition? Okay, and of course the first ambition is to make sure you lose the first trick that you have to lose as early as possible. Because the earlier you lose it, okay, the better for your partner, because your partner will still have a spade left. Okay, so if you put the king of spades up here, you might think, queen of spades, you might think that's fine. But of course, you've bid 1 spade. South knows jolly well that you've got king, queen to 5, particularly given the lead. He doesn't have to win that trick. So if you play the queen, a cunning declarer is going to duck that. He still has 2 tricks. He knows you've got the king as well. So when you play a second spade, he just puts the jack in, and that wins. But now your partner will have no spades left. And that is crucial, because you know you've only got 1 entry. You need your partner to help you here. Now, partner's not going to have much fun in hearts or diamonds, but he could easily have the king of clubs, as Tim's suggested there. And that's what you're hoping. And if he has got the king of clubs, he may well be able to get the entry to lead a spade. And then later, you play the ace of clubs. So the hope here is, not unreasonably, that perhaps South has long clubs as well and has to play on clubs to establish his extra tricks. And if he has to do that, well then of course, you will perhaps get 2 entries. 1 for your partner and 1 for you. Okay, so partner might have the king of clubs. So what we're hoping is, if we duck this completely, now you could play the 8 of spades here just to help partner, but you have bid spades. So partner knows you don't really have to give attitude here. Okay, partner knows pretty much what's going on. You've got a weak hand, so you should have a good spade suit and he trusts you. But the 8 of spades is not perhaps unreasonable, but I don't really mind. Perhaps if you'd prefer to play a suit preference signal, you might play the 2 of spades to say, because I think partner knows you've got good spades. The 2 of spades would say, partner, I've got an entry in the lower suit, maybe. Okay, but the key is I'm not going to win the first. If I duck it, okay, with a 6 of spades, so we're not doing the 8 or the 2. If I duck it, I force declarer to win the trick, but he's only got 1 stop left. Remember, you might think, well, he's still got the ace-jack. Okay, but of course, we're expecting the king and queen to deal with the next 2 rounds. One of them will lose, one of them will beat the jack. So if South has ace-jack left bare, can you see? Your king will knock out the ace, the queen will drop the jack. It's quite subtle playing pairs here, because if partner had led a singleton, it's a bit closer. Okay, so that's what John's saying there. I mean, in pairs. But even so, it's not unreasonable to try to get the contract down, because I think a lot of the time partner's got a singleton, he might not lead your suit. Okay, so he might not choose to lead your suit, and I think it's more often than not he's going to have a doubleton here. Okay, but it is a little bit more subtle if your partner's got a singleton, because of course you might make one fewer trick by playing low. So playing pairs, if you play the king or queen, you're guaranteed of a spade trick. If you duck it and partner turns out to be a singleton, well then of course you may never develop that spade trick. Okay, declarer might have enough tricks to get home. For example, he might just lose the ace and king of clubs and never lose a spade. So it is subtle, but I think given that partner might not lead a singleton if he's got one, you know, it's not unreasonable to play him for at least a doubleton. So clearly declarer has to win the first trick, and we're hoping for partner to win the first club trick. So don't play the ace, whatever you do, because if you play the ace of clubs on that first club, okay, you are playing the spade, which is fine, but you'll never get the lead again. So you duck it, and you're hopeful that partner does have the king. Of course, Bernard set the hand, so we know he has, and partner then leads another spade, and that's the beautiful thing. Okay, as stated, if partner doesn't have another spade, it's not so nice. Okay, but it does, and our queen knocks out the ace, or in fact, South may well duck it, but it's too late now, you see. So he ducks it, but we're on lead, so we can just play another spade to knock out the ace. In fact, let's look at the full hand here. Okay, so we play another spade, and that takes out the ace. Okay, and that's beautiful. We've still got the entry, and if you look at the hand, of course, declarer does need to establish those clubs. Okay, he's got no chance. He can't even get to the queen of diamonds anyway, although he's there now. So he could have unblocked them, but he was hoping to reach the 9 of clubs later, if that makes sense, and then cash the queen of diamonds, or just make all the clubs. So as long as he doesn't lose all the spades, so if West has the ace of clubs here, declarer was still making. He's hoping that the ace and king of clubs are not with the long spades. But our ace of clubs is going to win, and we are going to make those 2 tricks. But it is difficult. It's a difficult decision. So just to explain again, if West had the 9 of spades singleton, it's a tricky one. But I mean, maybe with six diamonds here, he might lead the jack of diamonds simply because it's going to be a surprise for declarer. And of course here, let's say you give him the 7 of diamonds instead, so swap the 7 of diamonds for the 3 of spades. Well, actually, the jack of diamonds will knock out the king of diamonds, and actually it will be our job to win the ace of clubs and play another diamond, and we may well be able to develop his diamond suit. So I think quite a few times when he has a singleton, he may not lead it, so it's not unreasonable to play him for a doubleton, and therefore duck the first spade. Okay, but that, you know, it's tricky. If there was a 4th spade in dummy, you might think to yourself, no, I think the odds are perhaps that given that South has shown a stopper, I might play him for a singleton. So very tricky. But the key is, what are your ambitions? And clearly, if you were playing teams or rubber bridge, your ambitions would be to get the contract down, in which case you have to duck that first spade. Can you see that you've forced declarer to win the trick? So even if declarer ducks, so if it had gone 9 of spades small from dummy and you played small, you know, he can't duck now, because if he ducks, our king and queen are enough, and he'll only make 1 trick, so he'd have to win the jack. So by ducking the first trick, you are forcing him to play. Okay, now let's see what happens if you do play high on the first trick. Make sure we're all happy. So if you play the queen of spades on the first trick, declarer ducks it. Can you see that? Now, well, we've got to try and develop the spades suit. It's the only way we can get it down. The key is, though, declarer knows you've got the king. So it's not as if he's going to play the ace on the next round. When you play a spade, he's going to win the next round with a jack. Can you see that? So you play a spade back, declarer wins the jack. Look at the West hand. Okay, West has no spades to lead. So it doesn't matter who wins the first club. If you win the ace of clubs, you can knock out the ace of spades, but you never get the lead again. If your partner wins the king of clubs first, he hasn't got a spade to lead. Okay, so it's imperative that if you're trying to develop a suit and trying to establish it, if you think you have to lose 2 tricks, then an early duck is important. Okay, and in fact, we've seen this with declarer, where declarer has maybe the ace king of a suit and a small one, and has the opportunity of ducking. he should duck early if he wants to, because if he doesn't duck early and wins the first trick and then thinks maybe I'll duck later, well, the defence can organise it that they make sure that the player with the shortage wins the first trick and plays, as it were. Here, Declarer did not have a choice. By playing low on that first trick with our hand, let me just show the full hand. By playing low, we forced Declarer's hand. Can you see that if he ducks the 9 of spades all around, that's no good to him, because he only has one stopper if he does that. So he does need to make 2 spade tricks, and therefore if we duck that 9 of spades, he has to win it. Otherwise he's giving up a trick and his whole contract. Okay, so ducking, basically, I mean, we all know about entries as Declarer. It is the same as a defender. Keeping communication is crucial. You know, and we've seen it happen in roughing as well. You know, when you lead a doubleton, okay, when if we tried to do this last year, trying to work out whether partners led a doubleton or a singleton. If partners led a singleton, you win the ace and give a rough. If you think it might be a doubleton, and sometimes it's obvious. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you add up the suit around the table and you realise Declarer can't have 5 of them. And if Declarer can't have 5 of them because of the auction, you work out partners possibly leading a doubleton. Okay, in which case a duck can be so powerful. If you've got the ace, you duck the first trick, your partner maybe wins a trump trick and is able to lead a second one to your ace, and you can give him a rough. Okay, those are really tough. Okay, but if you can identify the leads accurately, you can get it right, or as we saw here, identifying a switch accurately. Okay, so that is partner with the leader. It is hard. I've just come back from Denham doing signals and discards. The discards I tried to make easier by just having the simple rule of keeping 4-card suits, and I think you've all heard me talk about those. In fact, I did mention that I talked about them a lot last Wednesday. So if you haven't looked at that teams match that we had last Wednesday, there were 2 fatal discards from 4-card suits, which made a big difference on the hands. Okay, let's look back at that 5-level decision. 3 spades, 3 no trumps, 4 spades. Wow, what do you bid? You're vulnerable against not. You know, partner doesn't have to have more than 1 stopper, so he could have just ace doubleton. I mean, the fact that North has bid 4 spades, I would not be surprised if they've got a good sacrifice there. Okay? I would not be surprised if they've got a good sacrifice. I've got 10 points here, bearing in mind partners. I mean, I don't like partner bidding 3N on much less than 18. Okay? I don't like it. So I would feel we've got 28 here. I'm prepared to gamble on a game here, I think. I agree with Brian, 4 no trumps would be natural here. So, do you know, I think I'd dump 5 diamonds on the table here. I don't think it's unreasonable. It could go completely wrong. But I think a lot of the time partner's strong and has 4 hearts, he's going to have bid hearts. I think North's bid suggests South might just have a couple of spades. I mean, the only damage is going to be when partner's got 6 clubs and 2 diamonds. I'd love it if 4 no trumps was partner let's play in a suit, and if you've agreed with your partner that 4 no trumps is for takeout, but actually most experts here would play 4 no trumps, partner, you know, I think we can make 10 tricks. And you might think that's crazy, but the idea is that we're looking for 630. Remember, how many tricks do your opponents need to make in 4 spades to make a profit? Well, I'm expecting South to make 6 spade tricks, so 1 rough in the North hand or 1 ace. So let's say South has King, Queen, Jack, 10 to 7, and North has 1 ace. That is 4 spades doubled minus 3 only, and that's 500. I mean, I've got a lovely hand here, and the reason I quite like 5 diamonds is because partner might be able to put a 6th on it. You know, there's going to be a lot of hands that we are making 6 here when they have a good sacrifice in 4 spades. So, again, as with so many of these, I don't think there's really a right bid. Okay, But I don't think partner should be much less than 18 here. With 17, he might still do it. But I mean, it turns out if you end up in hearts, you do well here. You know, on this particular hand, yeah, the thing is, I don't expect partner to have 4 hearts here much of the time. Doubler has got to be for penalties. I hope everybody's happy with that. And it's, don't get me wrong, as long as you do something. The problem is if you pass, that's interesting, isn't it? Not thought about that. So I think pass is probably forcing. So could you possibly, because I think, you know, West has shown a strong hand, so I think he's going to double. So I guess you possibly could go pass, let your partner double, and then bid 4 N as 2 places to play. Does that sound sensible? Let me show you what I mean. So I think I'm thinking I'm probably bidding 5 diamonds here. I think partner should probably leave that. On this particular hand, I think we may get an end play for 6 diamonds here as it happens. Yeah, but it does make on this one, Andy, but I'm not so confident. And actually, when it makes 6 diamonds, does so. I mean, your partner is likely to bid 6. I mean, I think if you bid 5, I can't see partner not bidding 6 here. If that makes sense. And well done if they lead a club. I think you'd be unlucky to get a club lead there. You know, but well done if they do. I think you're more likely to get a spade lead. And then you should be able to manufacture an end play for 6 diamonds to come in. In no trumps though, then the key is there. Obviously you do need to make 6 diamonds. 5 diamonds isn't enough. What's interesting is, I just want to show you this because I think it's perhaps a better auction. So 3 spades, 3 no trumps, 4 spades. I love North's bid there. It's aggressive, but at this vulnerability I think it's okay. I know it's completely flat, but he just needs that king of clubs to make a trick. Now, if it turns out South's got a singleton club, don't get me wrong, he'll go too far off. But I still quite like it. It's very aggressive. But why do I say it's very aggressive? Well, he's 4-3-3-3s, so he's going to need those clubs to make one trick, and they do, of course, at least. If you pass, double from South, obviously. Now I think maybe 4N is 2 places to play, so maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. And then it would go 5 clubs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I suppose West still has the option of passing. Pass 5 diamonds, showing diamonds and hearts. But you might not get to 6 that way. I don't know. It's interesting. Well, I think it's got to be to make. You obviously expect to make 5 of a suit, so maybe West can still bid 6 there. I don't know. Interesting, really interesting. Yeah, well, Brian, I think West is. I mean, I think you've got to be realistic in these kind of hands. I think you've got to be realistic. You've got to say, look, if partner can make 3 no trumps. Okay, if partner can make 3 no trumps, surely North is going to double him. If North has every other point, so if North has 14 points, surely he's doubling for penalties. Okay, I mean, you could play against someone who decides to bid 4 spades, but if North has 14 points and partner's open to preempt, I think they're going to get about 800 or 1100 out of 3 no trumps. So I think you've got to assume that North's bid is based on a weaker hand, maybe distributional or whatever, or here just weak. I mean, once in a blue moon it might go wrong, but I think you've got to be realistic in auctions like this that partner is going to bid again. It's a bit like a 2 club opener. You open 2 clubs and it goes 4 spades on your left. Okay, you know, you've got to assume that the 2 club bid will do something. Okay, he said, I've got a strong hand. If they bid 4 spades, it might be right to pass it, but you never will, or you never should. Someone should bid, so you should feel that you'll have another bid in the auction. So here it might give you the option of 4 no trumps straight away as natural, and 4 no trumps later. I've got 2 places to play, if that makes sense. It's not going to come up enough, so do not worry about it. Do not have nightmares about it. That is crucial. Okay. But what's interesting is I think you should bid on. I think you should try for a gain there. And as I say, I think if you bid 5 diamonds straight off, you might, because partner's got all the aces and 4-card support, he might go for 6 diamonds. Which I hope you're happy with. I mean, you'll have to play it now. I'll show you the hand again because I did gloss over it, but what would happen on the king of spades lead is you'd win it, you'd be at a rough of spade, draw the trumps, play the hearts. The hearts happen to break, so you can play a winning heart and then run the 9 of clubs, and unfortunately North would then be end played. Okay, so 9 of clubs would run to North's 10 and he'd have to lead a club back into your ace queen. And that's, that's sort of how you'd expect the hand to be. Okay, well, that was fun. I hope you have a good week. Enjoy the weather. Well, while it lasts, I'm sure it'll break at some point. It was hot last night, I have to say. We are thinking about charity work as well, because September's coming and we're going to do September and October, do a few things. I know that the Bridge World's trying to encourage some raising of money for charity in one of the weeks in September, so we will try and join in throughout September. I know that my team in the office are also going to try and get involved. We are also hoping that Alfie and Helen may well do a fun one on bouncy castles and things like that. Not exactly sure what that means. I would be doing it as well, but when it's on, I am on a bridge weekend, I think, in Worthing. So there you go. Oh, they've booked a fun one. There you go. It's all ready and waiting. So we will maybe create a GoFundMe page or whatever. We'll create a page where you can sponsor Alfie to go round his 2.5 kilometres fun one. So we'll get that set up for you nearer the time. Well, no, possibly very soon indeed. Well, probably September the 1st, but I'll see. Okay, let's finish with our bidding quiz, of course. I've got to just remember where that is. We're on the theme of the 1 no trump overcalls. So 1 spade from partner, 1 no trump overcall. Nobody's vulnerable. 1 spade, 1 no trump overcall, and nobody is vulnerable. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that? So you can get the answer on the website as usual, so have a little think and have a go, and see you again soon. We are live on Wednesday with the teams. Friday we are talking the opening bid and going a bit further. So we had our first one, we're on part 2, so look into that and do join me there. You can always buy it as a separate entity if you're not a member, but of course that is for the members or for purchasers. There's also the special offer of the DVD on 5-card majors. I thought I'd give that a mention because I know some of you are interested in that. So I did create a DVD on 5-card majors. So have a little look at that. That's on special offer this week. So thanks for your company. I'm off to take Alfie to a swimming pool to cool off, and hopefully you have a nice day. Thanks very much.